Have you ever experienced despair? According to emotions expert Brené Brown, hopelessness is the fleeting fear that a task is too difficult, and despair is a feeling that life is too difficult. Psalms 22 is considered a psalm of despair written by David, but perhaps the most popular words of the psalm are the haunting words, my God, why have you forsaken me?" which was cried out by Jesus on the cross. It is a psalm mostly known for its messianic content, but there's so much more to it. It is likely that Jesus had memorized that psalm because he knew who he was and what his mission consisted of, and recognized in that psalm part of what was going to play out in his life later on. So does that mean that Psalm 22 is not really of much use to anybody else except the Messiah? No, of course not. Despair is a human emotion that most people have felt at some point in their life. Let's look a bit at the patterns or the structure in the psalm. Many scholars agree that there are two main sections in the psalm. The first being the lament, the description of the problems and tragedies and utter despair the author describes. The second part focuses on praise and thanksgiving to God. I really enjoyed reading this psalm in the Message translation because I can relate to it in modern day language, and I'd like to share some parts of it with you. Verse 1 and 2 said, God, my God, why did you dump me miles from nowhere? Doubled up with pain, I called to God all the day long. No answer, nothing. I keep at it all night, tossing and turning. And you, are you indifferent, above it all, leaning back on the cushions of Israel's praise? We know you were there for our parents. They cried for your help and you gave it. They trusted and lived a good life. Verse 6 to 8, and here I am, a nothing, an earthworm, something to step on, to squash. Everyone pokes fun at me. They make faces at me. They shake their heads. Let's see how God handles this one. Since God likes him so much, let him help him. Verses 14 to 15 say, I'm a bucket kicked over and spilled. Every joint in my body has been pulled apart. My heart is a blob of melted wax in my gut. I'm dry as a bone, my tongue black and swollen. They have laid me out for burial in the dirt. And verses 19 to 21, you, God, don't put off my rescue. Hurry and help me. Don't let them cut my throat. Don't let those mongrels devour me. If you don't show up soon, I'm done for. Psalm 22 gives us the vocabulary and precedent where we can approach God from a place of despair and challenge him to show up for us. I mean, if even Jesus did, who undoubtedly suffered the deepest despair ever, why wouldn't you and I approach God like that? And so Psalm 22 ends on a high note and in stark contrast to how it started, because along the way, in the midst of our despair, he shows up. He did it for David. He did it for his son Jesus. And he'll do it for you and me. That's our nugget for today. I'll see you tomorrow.